Hi! It's Saturday and it's almost 4 o'clock in New York, and I'm Mary Amy, and this is Signs of Light, and we're having a special show today because we have a guest, and his name is Eric Vanderlaan, and he is a ghost hunter. A ghost hunter coming from Southwest Florida. This is Eric, and he's going to be joining us. And so I wanted to get a head start here because he's going to be calling in a little bit after 4, and I wanted to kind of explain to you what this is all about today. Now, before we get to that, let me just let you know we are also going to cover topics like paranormal, ascension to a higher consciousness. I'll be doing a visualization, and of course we're going to touch on UAPs, Christopher Mellon. Now let me give you a disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional. I give healing suggestions to inner peace and personal serenity. My holistic modalities include I'm an intuitive wisdom coach, a Reiki master, and an ordained minister. Oops! And let me remind you, bright light shines on us. Every thought is very powerful, and we are all part of a whole. My pain is your pain, and your pain is mine. Karma is a cycle of cause and effect, and the sacred knowledge that I impart on you is to connect to a light source, engage with nature, and record your sleeping dreams for the universe to take you on your ultimate destiny. Okay, so paranormal. Now, what is paranormal? Well, I did some, this is an example of paranormal right here. As you can see, it's spooky looking. And so paranormal is denoting events or phenomenon such as telekinesis or clairvoyance that are beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding. According to recent surveys, as many as 3/4 of Americans believe in the paranormal in some form, while nearly 1 in 5 claim to have seen a ghost. So our guest today, I'll give a second before I start to explain, because I know people will be turning in exactly at 2. So I pulled up some information and some articles on paranormal. Now, here's one. Here's an article online. If you believe in ghosts, you'll see a ghost. The writer, Katie Haney, went to a haunted house. You're either a believer nor feeling very generous. This manner of identifying ghosts seems to be a clear example of fitting the evidence to the theory after the fact. There is no true side-by-side comparison to be had. People who believe they've just seen a ghost of a woman in an old dress are shown a picture of a woman in an old dress, and naturally 9 out of them will probably find that it's a startling match. Either you're the type of person who wants to make something out of what she's seen, or you're not. So what is that saying? That's saying that the power of suggestion. Have you seen a ghost before? Have you seen spirits? Our guest today travels out with a group. He's the leader of a group, a paranormal group in Florida, and he goes to haunted locations and has other paranormal experiences, which I'm interested to hear exactly what that is all about. In 1994, just want to pay attention because he's going to be coming on in 4 minutes. In 1994, 2 English psychologists, Susan Blackmore and Rachel Moore, published a study called Seeing Things, Visual Recognition and Belief in the Paranormal. People tend to believe a number of weird and ultimately wrong things that might contribute to the belief in the paranormal. I'm just going to write in the chat that we have a ghost hunter coming, so that all of you that are joining the show will know exactly what is happening. So his name is Eric Vanderlaan. Okay, and his paranormal group is www.warpartyparanormal. Does that look right? I think so. Paranormal.com. Yep. So there we go. So that's who's going to be joining us. And we'll just say leader of paranormal group. Okay, so I'm going to get right into who he is, because he's going to be calling and I want everyone to know who he is. I'll just turn my phone on. So let's just say, now I put him up right here so you can see. He's right here. I put him on this board. This is like my guest board now. So I'm going to put, can you see his face? This is him too. I also have added the followers. You know who you are. Thank you so much. Yay, it's Saturday. Okay, so this is Eric. Eric Vanderlaan. I'm going to have to ask how to pronounce his name because we know I butcher words. Was born on the island of Hawaii and has lived in South Florida since the age of 8 years old. He has been investigating the paranormal for the past 10 years. He has always been interested in the paranormal and South Florida history. It started on a ghost tour when he caught odd anomalies that he could not explain. He continues to investigate on his own until he joined a paranormal team 8 years ago. During his 10 years, Eric has learned from some of the best paranormal investigators in the business. He has experience in helping people with paranormal problems, finding haunted locations, and operating ghost hunting events. He is also has media experience, and he's made appearances on television shows for Telemundo, Univision, America TV, and he's currently, and he and his team, War Party Paranormal, which is in the chat, you can see, are regulars on the Latin television network Univision's new show, Premier Empatico. We'll have to ask him about that. His specialty is working with the technological aspect, the use of equipment to verify scientifically the anomalies that are present either on video or audio during investigation. Well, we know when you use equipment and you have that during the experience, that is evidence, that is data, and that's what everyone wants to see. You tune into these reality shows that are on, you know, I guess maybe Discovery or A&E, and it's kind of what you're looking for, evidence that this is really happening, because when you're watching it through the television or the video, you can't tell if that's legit unless there's some kind of equipment that's showing an aspect of interference, or as he says, anomalies. I've been watching the show Skinwalker Ranch, and I bet this is him. Hey, are we gonna do video? Eric? FaceTime? You can't.
How are you gonna do it?
FaceTime, no? On your phone?
I don't have FaceTime.
On your phone you don't? Okay, that's fine.
I don't have an iPhone.
Oh, you what?
I don't have an iPhone.
You don't have that's no worries, Eric, because I have your photos and it's no worries. I'm so excited that you're here today. How are you?
Great. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. I found you. I just want to say that we found each other on social media because I guess what you would say I do, according, psychic abilities or intuitive, that falls under paranormal. And I've also done some of my own paranormal excursions as well. And I left that because it was troubling. I don't know how you do it. Congratulations that you're leading a group. How is that going?
It's going awesome.
Yeah.
I actually started this group about a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really taken off.
Okay, so you're in Florida right now?
Yeah, I'm a team leader of War Party Paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And we have about 20 members. We have 2 teams. we have a team that's a north team. We're all one big family, but we have a north team, and they cover West Palm Beach and up. And then my team is the south team, and we cover the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area.
So are you like Ghostbusters, where do you get phone calls, or do you research and come up with the locations? Like, how do you find out? Do people call you up and you're in I don't know, the white pages?
Well, yeah, actually, anyone can call us. Basically, what War Party Paranormal is we're a paranormal investigative research team, and we're a not-for-profit. So what we do is we help people that have problems with the paranormal, whether it's in their homes or businesses. We don't charge them. Our services are free. We just like helping people. We have a passion for the paranormal. And on top of that, we do ghost hunting events where the guests can get involved and use our equipment. And we do these events at known historical haunted locations around the area. And we do those events to get our name out so people know what we do. And then we also do make appearances on network TV, but it's a Latin TV. It's with Univision, which is pretty big down here. So pretty much like the cases that we get are people calling us just because we spread the word out there.
Wow. You really have a passion for it, and it sounds like you're really trying to help people with paranormal.
Yeah, we do.
And so can you kind of give us a little walkthrough about the different members and what their role is in the team?
Well, we have a very eclectic group of people. Most of our people are more like scientific research, using paranormal equipment to try to get evidence. But then we also have people that are sensitives, which they sense things, and then are intuitive. And, we got one guy that's a pastor. I have one lady that's a witch. I mean, we have all kinds of people on our team.
So if you have a witch, doesn't that counter? Does the how do these spirits feel, or what do you sense when you bring in the team? So I'm going too fast. Okay, let's just say, for instance, because I'm fascinated, and I know that our audience is fascinated as well. Okay, so you get a phone call, right? What's a typical phone call say? What do they typically say to you?
You want me to tell you how the whole process goes down?
Well, I'd like you to share as much as you would like. I mean...
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
So this is how it works. So we have a case manager. So if we get a call, that case manager is going to interview the client over the phone. And, we run through a series of questions because there's a lot of times where it may not even be paranormal. It could be more psychological. And even sometimes it's like we've gotten calls where some people are like, they want us to come investigate their house, and we're like the party, we're the show. So we don't do that either. Right.
You mean what do you mean you're the party? You mean they think it's going to be just a fun joke, and they're not serious? Is that
well, maybe they are, but they want to have entertainment. They want to see someone investigating in their house, and that's not what we do. We're there to help people, not entertain.
Right.
We have our events for that.
Right.
We're pretty serious about it too. So we'll run through a series of questions. Asking everything, anywhere from if they have an issue with drugs or psychological problems, if they're taking medication. I mean, we get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So if we think that it could be a legitimate investigation, then what we'll do is we'll go there and we'll do a preliminary where we'll sit down and we'll talk to the client. Maybe we do a sweep around the house. And then if it calls for it, then we'll come back and we'll do a full-out investigation. And then if we think something's there, then we have people that can come and, come in and do a cleansing and get rid of anything that is negative there.
Okay. Can you give us an example of one of the experiences that you've had that turned out to be it was overwhelming, or surprisingly it wasn't as simple as you thought?
Well, one case that sticks out, and we never post any of our evidence when it comes to residential cases. Like,
right.
If you go to my social media, it's all like on what I do, like on the side and my events.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never, post things and make it public. We keep everything private. Mm-hmm. But we had one case that involved some black magic Santeria, and that was pretty interesting. It was a married couple that was living there, and to make a long story short, what happened was, before they got married, the gentleman that was living there was living with his brother, and his brother was involved in drugs and black magic and Santeria, to the point where, like, he was getting arrested and getting in a lot of trouble. So pretty much he had enough of it and, kicked him out. So what his brother did was place a curse on him.
Ooh.
And ever since that happened, and pretty much like right after the brother left, that's when the wife came in and moved in, and they got married and everything. But just things started getting weird. The wife was seeing shadow figures, seeing an apparition of a little girl. The husband was getting sick to the point where he had a couple strokes.
Oh, wow.
And when we got there, we were getting activity right off the bat, and there was something that was there that was very negative. So further into our investigation, and this is where we found out about the curse, one of our mediums was drawn to one location on the side of the house. And come to find out, the lady that lived there noticed that someone had buried these, like those big scissors that you use for cutting ribbons, like at a ceremony. I forgot what the significant meant. I forgot what the medium told me that was on my team. But that was placed down as a curse. It was buried by their house. And we discovered that it was there, and she had discovered it, but she didn't want to touch it.
Yeah.
And she didn't think it was a big deal, but that was the cause of the whole thing. So we were able to cleanse the house and, get rid of the shears, and things have been better for them. So it's just like, everything's different. I mean, but that's the one that sticks out. That was like the first case where, like, there was like a black magic curse placed on someone. Now, on the cleansing side, like, I don't know a lot about it. I'm learning. I'm more on the technical side, running the team and everything. But that's something that I'm getting into. I mean, I definitely feel that I'm getting more open the more I do these investigations. I used to be very skeptic, and I was always looking for an answer, and now things are happening to me.
Right.
So, and I'm trying to keep my mind more open, and I notice that my intuition's been getting a lot stronger lately.
Good. That's you're headed in the right direction. But also, as your mind gets more open, then you're going to have more paranormal experiences too. Because
definitely.
I found that so here someone put a comment. We feel something in our house also, nothing negative, just in the corner of your eyes you feel something is here. So that's what Kwa said in the chat. Do you ever feel like that when you get there? You can feel like something's present?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
and they've been good and bad. I mean,
yeah, good and bad.
And not everything's bad. I mean, there's a lot of good presence. I mean, you're into angels. I almost think it's almost like a guardian presence.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't really have a lot of dark entities come to me anymore, because I just know, I sense right away the energy, and so I clear it really fast. And I myself, if I did house clearing, so I know, and it's not something I want to tangle with. So I haven't had anybody.
I understand. People have to understand, like, it's not for everybody.
No.
I'm a different type of person. I mean, I can handle those situations because I've been in them before and I know what to do. But if you're like maybe someone has a sensitivity of your level and has never experienced it, it could be very overwhelming.
Definitely. You mentioned a pastor. Is that in case to do like an exorcism, or is that to keep away like negative spirits? What is the pastor for?
It's both. He's a paranormal investigator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's very well known. He actually used to work with the Warrens, you know, Ed and Lorraine Warren,
Mm-hmm.
and he used to do lectures on the Amityville case.
Wow.
I don't know if you saw the show Shock Docs that was on Discovery Plus about the Amityville house.
I tried to avoid that.
Oh, okay. Well, he was on that show.
Okay. So he's notable. I mean, how did you land him? Because you're the Florida State Paranormal Group. Is that why?
Well, he lives down here. He's been with War Party Paranormal since the beginning.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
it's very exciting. I mean, like you said, it's not just you're going to run into negative. Have you ever seen any orbs, like angel orbs or white or different color orbs before? Have you ever caught those on camera?
Well, the thing is with orbs is, like, I don't like to use that as evidence when it comes to photos and
Mm-hmm.
and like video, just because there's so many things that come into play that can create an orb.
Oh.
The one thing I do believe, and I've witnessed it, is seeing an orb with your own eyes. I've seen that before.
Mm-hmm. You've seen an orb.
Yeah, with my own eyes.
And how big was it? And was it at one of these locations for these jobs?
No, it was at a location. It was actually in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
We were investigating this old lighthouse that's there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the keeper's house. And upstairs they get a lot of activity.
Mm-hmm.
And I was by myself. And I see this blue orb, like, just floating across, glowing. Almost the size, because I was like in the hallway looking into the room, and I saw it in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe it was like the size. It was big. It was like the size of a tennis ball, I would say. And then it disappeared. And I was like, what the heck was that? Like, I was like in disbelief. And I'm getting my hands on my face, thinking my glasses are on. I'm like thinking that, okay, maybe like the light in my glasses maybe projected something, but I got my glasses on. So, yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Did you feel, when this happened, or maybe not that occasion, but in some of these instances, do your senses go off and you sometimes feel overwhelmed, or you just naturally adaptable when it comes to this paranormal?
I'm adaptable. Like, this was like a few years ago when I witnessed that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still more on the skeptical side.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was more like in disbelief. Like,
Mm-hmm.
was that for real, what I just saw? And, like, now I'm trying to be more accepting of it, and more things happen to me now when I go on investigations.
This chat, Kwa says, our house is more than 100 years old, and there's been some dark times around here in the past. Still, we never feel anything bad or negative.
Well, that's possible. I mean, there could be something that happened there. It could be anything. It could be maybe a spirit
Mm-hmm.
that, couldn't let go of the place, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's like something that's residual that, almost like a, record playing over and over again. Just something back in history happened there that maybe it was traumatic and it just happens over again, and maybe it's hard to tell. Like, I get a lot of questions from people, like, saying that this happens, or they send me pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't really tell them because I go into debunking mode, and I don't try to be like a negative Nelly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how you have to be when you're a paranormal investigator. You gotta try to think of every possible reason why it's not paranormal, and if you can't, then it is. But
Really? That is that is the takeaway from this, what you just said. Because I would and I think that debunkers and skeptics probably say the opposite. Oh, they just think everything's paranormal, when you are really looking at it from this can't be paranormal, and what makes it, and then when you've eliminated everything, you say it must be.
Exactly.
Wow. What kind of equipment do you bring on these investigations?
All kinds of equipment. I mean, we have different types of video cameras, mainly, the night vision cameras. We have cameras that are modified to see full spectrum, which means it can see more colors of the prism of light compared to the human eye. So sometimes you can get, some anomalies from that. We use thermal cameras. And then for the equipment, we're using equipment that's going to be measuring EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, static, electricity, changes in humidity, pressure, temperature, vibration. And we have various kinds of devices that do that. And then my number one tool is my recorder. And that's when we're asking questions, and we have a recorder on. And then when we play back the recorder and we haven't heard anything, we get a response that we haven't heard, but the recorder got it, because sometimes these digital recorders can hear frequencies that the human ears can't catch. And there's various types of recorders, but that's what I'm really good at, is getting what's called electronic voice phenomenon, and communicating with spirits to the point where I'm asking questions and I'm getting intelligent responses.
Oh, okay, stop right there. Are you saying that you're hearing, you will ask a question, then you hear on the recorders a response, like after or during it happening? You're saying that the decibels are a sound you can hear, but on the recorder you can?
Exactly.
Wow.
I mean, to the point where, I get my name called out.
That's freaky.
Yeah, and for example, let me give you an example. My last investigation was at the Old Navy Schoolhouse Museum, and they have 2 historical buildings in the back, and those places are haunted too. So lately, in the attic on one of those houses, it's been very active, and we've been communicating with a gentleman by Paul Hammer. And the reason why we know this is because I've gotten Paul on my recorder. We have another device that I was telling you, that we have devices how we measure changes in that atmosphere and static and EMF and all that. Well, we have a device that's called an ovulus that measures that, and it also has a word bank. So supposedly ghosts or spirits can manipulate the word bank to communicate with us. So the last time I was there, I got hit, and that's Paul's last name.
I'm sorry, you said you got hit. It cut you off. You got, the last time you were...
So on this device, the ovulus, where it has a word bank,
right,
I got the word hammer, which is Paul's last name. And then right after that, I turned on my recorder and I asked the question, Paul, are you here? And then I turned the recorder off, picked it up, we didn't hear anything, but when I played it back, clear as day, it said, I'm here.
Oh, have you gone into some of these haunted locations? I mean, allegedly haunted locations, right? And have you left with anything where you feel like they came with you and departed from that location and attached themselves to you?
No, I don't think that's ever happened to me. I got a little ritual that I do every time I go on an investigation, and I think it protects me. And I also think it's also like a frame of mind. Because, negative energies, the way they get stronger is they feed off of fear, right?
True. Absolutely. Yes.
Fear. And I think in a way it's like sort of intimidating.
Right.
And there's been times where I've been in an investigation where I feel like they don't like me or they're scared of me. I even got an EVP where it said, I think you're scary.
They said you're scared. So
exactly. I'm like, why do you think I'm scared? I'm like the nicest guy you ever meet.
So this is why you can lead the group.
Right. And I also wear protection beads, like shungai, like crystals, things like that to help, deflect negative energy. But nothing has ever happened to me, at least not yet. I mean, I feel good, and nothing bad has ever happened to me. But my team members, things have happened to them before.
Like what happened, if you can share?
Okay, so let me go back to one investigation that we did at an abandoned correctional facility in Central Florida, in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of sugarcane fields. And in the middle of this facility, there was the prison chapel. And we had been investigating it for a while, and in the prison chapel, one day, maybe we've been investigating already a handful of times, we discovered that someone had been practicing satanic worship there.
Oh my God.
And it was fresh because there was burnt candles there. They had spray painted all these weird symbols all over the place, and you could feel the energy. I felt it. Like it was heavy. It was pulling me down. Like I just felt really heavy in my body. I don't know if you ever had that sensation where like you feel like something's like pulling you into the ground.
No, I don't think I have had that sensation. I've just sensed them around me. I haven't had that. I've heard things, I've seen things, but I haven't had that. No, thank you.
So that's what I felt, and I've never felt that before. So what we did was, one of our co-founders, she's been doing this for like 100 years. She goes in there, and she has holy water, and she starts blessing the place.
Right.
And we have some of our mediums there sitting on the stage in the church chapel, the prison chapel, and when she starts doing the holy water, they start coughing. And the more she got into it, they started coughing more. So I made sure that before I left home that I was going to get blessed with holy water and get myself saged. And that's what I did. So if I get into something that's dark like that, I'll definitely, cleanse myself before I leave. I always carry like a stick of sage with me. Now, I know that just doing that isn't going to stop anything, but I think for me it's just a bunch of additional things that I do for myself. So
well, that's smart. I mean, I sage after I've been around anything, and before and after, and then also I wash my hands with salt.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, to get off.
Going back to that place, so that night, one of my investigators, JP, went home, and then all these bad things started happening to him within a week.
Oh.
To the point where, he opened up the cupboard in his kitchen to grab a glass, and something fell, hit him in the head, or he had to get stitches. So, and he felt something had followed him, because you can sense these things. So he just started, clearing his house for maybe about a week, and then, everything was okay. I've had, one recent investigation that we did at a museum. One of my team members was driving home, and along the way home, he kept seeing shadow figures on the exit, on the highway. He even called me when it was happening, and his wife is also on the team, so she's like, "You're not getting your ass in this house until you cleanse yourself." He told her what happened. So yeah, we're very scientific, but I do think that there's things we don't understand, and it's always good to do what you can do, because it doesn't hurt, But frame of mind plays a lot into it.
I agree with you, and also it's if you exhibit, like you said, fear, or I think that if you're actually antagonizing it or bothering them, that's not good either. And because, question, I know this is just going to be your personal opinion, do you believe that a place that's haunted, that the spirits or the entity is stuck in time and space there? Is that, and you gave the example of a replaying over and over record.
Yeah, I think there's various kinds of hauntings. I mean, and like most of them, they're all pretty much different. Mm-hmm. I mean, they all have their own personality. It just depends. Like, people are asking you questions about things that go on their house, or maybe they send me pictures and things like that. Mm-hmm. I can't determine anything until I've been at the actual location and had a chance to investigate it. I just can't go by what you say or things that you show me. I have to go there myself and see what I can find.
Do you think that when you look at some of these horror movies, or a paranormal type of movie, do you look at those and say that's pretty accurate, or do you say, oh, that's ridiculous?
Ridiculous.
You do?
Yeah.
Why do you say it's ridiculous?
Because so far I haven't experienced anything that's like really crazy. I mean, the most crazy thing is like maybe seeing shadow figures, having you go through me, but I've never seen anyone like physically thrown across the room or dragged or anything like that. Mm-hmm.
You've seen.
I think a lot of these things are over dramatized. I mean, I think things that are going to happen are things that you're not going to expect.
But you did say that you had your one investigator get very sick, and these things happened to him. Isn't that pretty extreme?
Well, yeah, but I thought you meant like more like,
in person,
spinning around.
Oh yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
but the TV show Paranormal Activity, like someone getting dragged across the room on the floor, and no one's there. Like, it could be possible, but I think it's definitely it isn't. If something like that does happen, it's very, very rare.
It might be. Well, yeah, because there's so much good. There's just rare, really dark energies. But let's say
I don't dabble in the dark. I mean, I'm trying to bring in light.
Right, so, you're trying to bring in light. So, but if something was like,
and I'm never pushing it. So I have an opportunity to do that soon, to push it to the envelope. But I don't think I'm going to do it because I don't believe in that. I don't think you should.
Yeah, you're basically trying to clear the space. You're like a Ghostbuster. You're trying to go in there and help whoever is having the issue and clear it.
Paranormal investigator.
Right. You're not trying, because there are some groups that do that. They're like trying to kind of stir things up. That's not what you do, and I'm grateful that's probably why I was okay with you coming on, because you were actually like, oh, I know, I believe in angels as well, and you're trying to, like you just said, bring light. So when you had, in your bio, you mentioned that since the age of 8, did you say that you had, when was the first paranormal experience? Did you have your own personal paranormal experience that kind of led you into this?
Nope, I don't have a crazy story that I can tell you. It's just that ever since I've been little, I've been intrigued with things that are unknown and unexplainable. So back when Ghosthunters came out, like, I don't know, like over 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I think. That was my favorite show, and I'm always thinking, like, wow, how awesome would it be to go on an investigation? I really want to see if something like that is really real. So then I started, like doing my own things, like, like what a lot of people do. Like if I'm going somewhere and there's a haunted place and they do ghost tours, I'll take pictures, and to the point where I was getting little devices, and then I started getting things, and I'm like, I couldn't explain what they were. So I went on one ghost tour in Miami, and the guy that was running it had the paranormal team, and I asked him, hey, I would just love to go on an investigation with you guys. I'll carry equipment, I don't care. And then before I know it, I'm on the team. So when I was on that team for a couple of years, I didn't, like, my senses didn't really develop, because I was more into, like, the equipment, how cool it was, and, I want to get as much evidence as possible. But now my frame of mind is, like, totally different. Now I go in, I try to feel the place, I don't use any equipment. I'll try to sit somewhere by myself and close my eyes and try to see if I can feel the vibe.
Wow.
And what it has been doing is, it's been because I go to a lot of locations multiple times, like these historic, like I mentioned, the old Davy Schoolhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there like, I don't know, like over 20 times, maybe more in some places, to the point where like I feel those spirits know me,
mm-hmm.
and we have a personal relationship,
mm-hmm.
and that's why I get my name called out. And I also noticed that my intuition's a lot stronger. And I don't know how to explain it, but it's like when I'm on an investigation, I'm like in a zone, and I just follow what my feelings tell me, and just amazing things happen when I do that.
Do you ever have any dreams about your experiences?
I never dream. How weird is that?
Everyone dreams. You just don't remember.
Yeah, I probably forget them.
Huh.
But no dreams.
What is this you mentioned that you do you do like events. What are the events that you do?
So with War Party Paranormal,
mm-hmm.
we do ghost hunting events at these historical locations that are known to be haunted and that have activity.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we have a train museum that's active, that's in Miami. We have the old Davy Schoolhouse that's near Fort Lauderdale. We have the Fort Lauderdale Historical Society, which includes 3 buildings. One of them is called the New River Inn. It was like the first hotel built in Fort Lauderdale. And that's like on the national, like, directory of haunted locations.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have one in West Palm Beach at Yesteryear Village, which is pretty cool. It's almost like my Disney World of ghost hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Because what it is a little village of all these buildings that are historic that at one point were going to be demolished, but Yesteryear Village saved them, moved them on their property, and restored them. And there's a lot of activity there, and I don't know, it's because maybe things can change on these buildings and moved around, but there's like a handful of buildings where you get a lot of activity, but the most famous one is called the Riddle House, which is featured on Ghost Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
They did show one scene of one of the investigators up in the attic, and a 2x4 flew at him, which I think might have been fake, but it's the real deal. Like, and the background of the Riddle House is it used to be a funeral parlor on a cemetery, and there was a worker there that got accused of stealing. This is probably back in the 1920s, and he got upset about it and hung himself in the attic. His name is Joseph, and we communicate with him all the time. He hates men, so he gets nasty with me, but he loves women, and I've gotten him like flirting with women on the recorder.
So when you say it gets nasty, you mean you can hear his voice on the recorder saying something to you?
Yeah, like get out, screaming at me.
And that doesn't scare you at all, hearing that back on the record. See, you're so desensitized in a way, because that is scary what you're saying. That's scary.
No, the scarier, the better for me. I'll go like right into it.
Oh my gosh.
Because like my Instagram is like my go-to social media site. Mm-hmm. And when I created that, mm-hmm. it was all just to share to people like what I've captured. And I just have a passion of the paranormal, and like the crazier the better. So like my goal is to capture this and document it so other people can see it.
Right. So
they know that it's really real. And when you see me do an EVP session, electronic voice phenomenon, you know I'm not faking it, because you see me press record, put the recorder down, pick it up, stop the recorder, and then play it back. Like there's no gimmicks, or I'm not pulling any strings or anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When was the last time you did a paranormal expedition or investigation?
A couple weeks ago. Where were we? We were at the old Davy Schoolhouse. Mm-hmm. But I go investigating probably like every other week. The biggest one we went to was last month. We went to Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky.
And what happened? I was going to say, when you said I don't know, you mentioned another investigation and you talked about it. I guess the where the chapel was, I said, phew, he's not talking about a sanitarium. Now you're talking about a sanitarium. What happened at the sanitarium?
Well, it's one of the most haunted places in the U.S. And it's in Louisville, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And what it was, it used to be, back in the 1920s, a state-of-the-art facility for tuberculosis. Oh. And that was a big problem back then, to the point where they couldn't keep people alive. 63,000 people died there, and there were multiples dying daily. Ooh. To the where they didn't want to get the patients upset and, ruin the morale, to the point where they had a hidden body chute tunnel in the back of the facility, so all the bodies would go through there, so no one could see them. And it was about 500 feet long, goes down at a 45-degree angle, and at the end of it, they would pick up the bodies and then take them out. But it was pretty impressive. But it was weird. Nothing really bad happened there. Mm-hmm. If there's anything really bad there, I think it's more sadness than anything else, because that's what I felt. Right.
And
there's also some comedy in it as well.
What do you mean?
Because some of these spirits have personalities, and it's pretty funny. Like, okay, so the big thing about Waverly Hills Sanitarium, what they're known for is what's called crawlers. Mm-hmm. There's these shadow figures that just go all over the place. You see them crawling on the wall, the ceiling, they zoom in and out. So
wait. So when you're walking through the sanitarium, you can literally see it with your own eyes, the spirits on the wall crawling?
Well, I thought I saw one, and we've gotten a couple of photos. I didn't get it personally, but other team members of shadow figures. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think on the 3rd and the 4th floor where a lot of that activity happens. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to tell you that. So I'm walking up the stairs, and I'm heading up to the 4th floor. It's me and an investigator, just her and I. And we've got the whole floor to ourselves. And I'm going up the floor, and you have to remember my vision isn't good because we're in pitch black darkness, and I'm using my night vision camera. So
oh my God.
I'm going up the stairwell, and I'm like, I see the bats, and they're like, they're just floating around. I'm like, look at the bats. So as soon as I stepped out in the hallway on the 4th floor, this big shadow figure with green eyes, cut like it was the size of, like, I don't know, bigger than a basketball, so close to where I could stick my foot out and probably kick it, goes right by me.
Wow.
And scared the crap out of me.
Wow.
The freak was that. So this whole time I'm thinking it was, okay, I witnessed a shadow figure. And I'm like pumped. And I'm like, okay, I got what I wanted. Now I can go home. So the whole night I'm thinking I saw a shadow figure. And guess what it was? A big ass bat that flew right by in front of me.
Oh, it was a bat. So you found out what after you, did you have it on camera?
This is the funny part where I was going to get to.
Yeah.
So, like, the whole night, I'm thinking I saw a shadow figure. So right after that happened, I went up to the next floor where my other investigators were, because I had to tell everyone. And everyone heard me screaming because it was pretty exciting. So I'm like, okay, I got to go back down there. I'm going back down there by myself, and I'm going to try to see if I can see this thing again. So I go to the nurse's station on that floor where I saw that bat. And I do an EVP session, and I ask, that thing that I just saw, was that human or unhuman? And you're going to laugh at the response I got. So when I played back the recording, before I said the question, I hear a bat. And then after I said the question...
Oh, I lost him. We got to get him back. Where did he go? I wonder if I lost him because of the technology. Maybe I'll go to voicemail. Maybe I should hang up and let him call me back. I'll let him call me back. He'll call me back. This is some scary stuff. He thinks it's not a big deal. Sounds like a big deal to me. Where did you go? There he is. Lost you there.
You're right.
They didn't want you to tell this.
I don't know, like, how much you listened to what I was saying.
You heard, they said bat?
Yeah, I did an EVP session, and I played back the recording, and right before I asked the question, you hear someone say bat. And then after I said the question, it said bat, bat.
And who's saying bat?
I don't know, one of the spirits there. Like, it was trying to tell me, dude, that wasn't a shadow weaver, that was a bat. Which I thought was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. But like you said that there was a lot of sadness evident. Did you hear sad stories? I mean...
Yeah, we were in the body shoot. And it was just me and my investigator. He was on the bottom and I was halfway up. And we were just sitting there, you know, trying to feel the vibe, and I have my recorder and I'm asking questions. You can definitely sense that there was something there. Mm-hmm. And I asked the question, why are you here? And the response I got was, my mother's here. Oh. Because there were a lot of children that died from tuberculosis there, and there were probably families that died together there. Mm. And I just felt like it was like a soul looking for his mom.
Oh.
I thought that was sad.
Hmm. Have you had some of your psychics on your teams give you kind of explanations in this kind of situation?
Yeah, many times, on different occasions. Not on that specific one.
And
but like, now I'm at the point where like I'm sensing stuff, so it's getting stronger to the point where like I just listen to my senses now, mm-hmm. and what I get with the evidence, with the equipment.
Mm-hmm. What are you planning on taking all of your paranormal work a step further in any way? Have you sent any of your information to some maybe television or a book, or is this you just want to kind of, do you have a plan that you're going to take into effect? What you're going to do?
It's funny that you say that, because I have a lot of plans going on. It's pretty crazy. I got just way too much stuff going on, but I'm trying to make something out of this, because just to let everyone know, my real job is with the job that pays the bills, and it's not paranormal. It's investigations. I'm an insurance broker, mm-hmm. health insurance broker. So, I like helping people, and I like talking to people, but my real passion is the paranormal. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just getting myself set up so I can transition out of the insurance business and make the paranormal my full-time job. And one of the things I've been working on is I'm working on a television pilot. I got some connections that's going to help us pitch it to travel and Discovery Channel.
Congratulations.
And it's going to be something that no one's ever going to see before. It's going to be something totally different. There's a lot of your paranormal shows that are out there. Mm-hmm. And I watch them just because I like watching like the locations that they go to, but a lot of them are pretty much the same, right? Mm-hmm. Like, mine's going to be completely different. I can't give away the secret.
No, don't.
But
don't give away. Don't give away any secrets. I think it sounds like that's the next step. You mentioned, and I read in the bio, that you actually are regulars. You and your War Party Paranormal members are on this Latin television network for Univision. What's that?
Okay, so I work with these people from Univision, mm-hmm. and they do shows for the television show on Univision called Premier Impacto. Mm-hmm. And what it is, it's a news show. But mm-hmm. it's like, almost like your entertainment tonight. It's not like your regular like CBS News. It's always like news that like out of the ordinary. But it's really popular on Univision. It's one of the most popular channels. So we do pieces on paranormal there, and we've been doing it. We've already done 6 shows for them, and we're getting plans to do another one. We don't get paid for it, but it gets our name out there. But it's just like we do like a 5-minute story.
Mm-hmm. That's great. It's also giving you experience, right? You want to do television, and then you're doing something for television.
Right. And then the other thing that I'm working on that's just started and that's really took off is my ghostly experience business. And it's sort of similar to like what I was telling you with the events where it's like hands-on, but we take it to the next level. We do a paranormal boot camp, and we teach people how you can create your own team, how you do a proper investigation, and how you do it the right way.
That's great. That's great. Because, I think that whether we realize it or not, there's a lot of people that have some kind of paranormal experience, and it kind of takes away the power of it too. If you understand it, the more you understand the paranormal, then the less you have fear attached to it, because you say, okay, this is kind of what's going to happen. You already know. There's, it's almost like you have like a little book of how it's going to go. And if it doesn't go that way, it's going to go another way. And it's kind of probably statistically, it's going to fall into one of these. It's going to possibly, or maybe it'll be a crazy experience. You never know. It's an adventure. It's an adventure, isn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of the people that are probably interested in these things are like people that were like me when I wanted to get into it. And I want to teach people, the right way to do it. I mean, you see a lot of shows on TV, and like what you were talking about earlier, how they're like trying to like piss spirits off. But I want to teach them how there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And what's pretty cool is I got invited to my first paranormal conference as a special guest in Tahoe, Nevada. And the VIP event they're having, I'm doing the paranormal boot camp for them.
That's great.
So that'll be cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, this is kind of I think the paranormal and the supernatural, with everything that's going on in the world now, with the, I talk about, I don't know if you've ever seen my show, I talk about UAPs, and so that's somewhat, they're saying paranormal. I mean,
paranormal is not normal, right?
Right. We don't. It's mysterious anomalies, right? I'm just looking at. I pulled up some paranormal percentages where, let's see, 3/4 of Americans believe in the paranormal, while nearly 1 in 5 claim to have actually seen a ghost. And places can be haunted by spirits. 58% of these people in this survey agreed that, so that's more than half of people believe that in spirits. So that's why your show sounds like you're in the right field, because this is the direction that a lot of networks are taking now.
Right, and who does that, right? No one does that. So
no, I mean, that's exactly it.
We're pretty innovative.
You're very innovative, and the fact that you've had this many years experience and you've kind of had real experience, it isn't like a scripted experience. So you kind of will give probably more of a realistic approach.
Exactly.
Yeah, and now I understand why you have photos with your tape recorder in your hand. And I didn't print that photo.
That's my number one tool.
I kept seeing that. I'm like, what's with this tape recorder in his hand and like all these shots? But now it makes sense, because that's how you do it.
When you get time, take a look at the clips I post. You'll hear some of the responses I get, and they're pretty amazing.
Well, okay, so if you use that little tape recorder, do you have 1,000 little tapes? Or do you run over them again? Like, do you delete them?
Well, there's a special recorder that I use that's like Mount Everest of all recorders. And it has a little history behind it. And it's called the Panasonic DRRR60. It's called the Panasonic RRDR60. It came out in the 90s, maybe for like, I don't know, $80. And what happened with that recorder that it was defective. And the reason why they were saying it was defective, because they were getting, like, when students were doing, like, a dictation, or recording a lecture, they were catching voices on it. So they discontinued this recorder and stopped making it. Now, going now to present future, this recorder is the most sought after item because it's one of the best recorders to get electronic voice phenomena.
Okay, what's it called? Can I get it?
I'm not 100% sure why, but some people say that maybe the casing on the recorder is very thin and it's more open to higher frequencies where we can like almost get to the high, like a frequency like of white noise, and maybe that's why it's getting the responses. So these recorders there weren't too many made, but it's really hard to find one. Sometimes you'll see them on eBay, and I've seen them go as high as $3,000.
Oh, forget it. I was going to say, tell me the name of it. But you know what? Tell me the name of it anyway, and then I want to see if I can find one. What's it called?
Yeah. The Panasonic RRDR60.
RRDR60?
Yeah.
How many of these do you own, Eric?
There might be, I'm always on eBay, so there might be two sitting in eBay right now. And there's one that's broken.
Uh-huh.
They're asking $1,900 for it.
And how many do you have of these?
I have one, but I want to get another one, so I always have a backup.
Mm-hmm.
But with our team together, we probably have 20 of them.
Oh, well, that's good.
We probably own most of them.
What year was this that this Panasonic tape recorder came out?
Like in the 90s.
Huh. I guess you're lucky you got
Interesting,
them.
huh?
Very interesting. But why did they stop making them if they're this popular? Can they make them again, or they don't have the It's...
I really don't know.
Wow.
But they stopped making them because they thought they were defective.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I guess they didn't know now because, no one was into the paranormal in the 90s, I don't think, too much.
Yeah.
Or no one would ever have thought of that,
Fascinating. Well, I'm really appreciating that you came on today. I have listed on the site, on this chat, your website, www.warpartyparanormal.com, and Eric is also, your site on Facebook is, what is it on Facebook again? Is it?
My team can be found on, we have our own website. It's
Okay.
War Party Paranormal.
Right.
It's under construction, but you can probably see some of it. It's warpartyparanormal.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, we're under War Party. Most of the paranormal activity, if you want to see that, is on my personal site, which is on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Ghosthunter of South Florida. And I'm also on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
I posted some of our investigations on YouTube as well.
Okay, I
One
posted.
thing I wanted to tell you real quick,
Yeah,
one thing
tell
that
us.
makes sense,
Tell us what.
is I do feel angels protecting me. I know there's something protecting me every time I go out there. I just feel it. I sense it.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I feel that as well for me, so I connect with that. I understand it. And they probably are.
I have a medium that's into angels, like sort of how you are.
Mm-hmm.
And she did a reading on me, and she says there's 3 angels that are protecting me. One angel was the badass of angels, the Archangel Michael.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Raquel or Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and what was the third one? I'll have to look at my phone. Let me see.
Was it, you're saying you have archangels, do you have guardian angels as well? Did the medium say?
Yeah, she felt that a couple people told me, and I forget the name, they showed me different names, but people have always told me that maybe there's like a relative that's guarding over me, and that's what I really sense.
Must be. Because it doesn't sound like this has touched you. But you also probably have a certain kind of energy that it's not like you take it in. It seems, and I have a friend that's similar to you, that he's encountered a lot of different paranormal and had experiences, and he's not intuitive at all, and nothing affects him. It's interesting that you're saying you're intuitive and you're still feeling pretty good.
Yeah, when I say more intuitive, it's more by intuition. Like, I don't see things, I don't hear people talking to me. Mm-hmm. It's just more by feeling.
Right.
And sensing.
Yeah.
And these are the angels that she said.
What did she say?
Archangel Uriel, mm-hmm. Archangel Michael, and Archangel, she said she was confused either between Raquel or Raphael.
Raphael.
No, she confirmed it. She said it was Raquel. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about it, but another one told me the same. So I thought that was interesting that two people that I didn't tell this to mm-hmm. told me the same thing. But I do have faith in Jesus. I am a Christian, mm-hmm. and that's who I use to protect me when I go out investigating.
Well, everyone in Florida is lucky to have you, and I'm sure that your idea for your show is going to work out, and you will.
Thank you.
Everything that you want, you can be. Just
that's what I'm working on.
Have faith, and you're all good, because.
Yeah.
It already sounds
positivity.
Exactly, but it also sounds like you already are pursuing this just naturally, and you found kind of your own niche, and it's great you've pursued it, and I appreciate you coming on today, and it was a pleasure to meet you, and just be safe, have fun, and I wish you well.
All right, Mary Amy. Mary Amy.
Now, how do I say?
I had a really good time.
Thank you. I had a great time too. I want to ask you, how do I say your last name, because I always mispronounce words.
Vanderlaan.
Vanderlaan. Vanderlaan?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
Eric.
Good old Dutch name.
It's a what name?
A good old Dutch name.
Oh, it's a Dutch name. Eric Vanderlaan. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful weekend. You're awesome, and you can catch the stream. It's up for the next 2 weeks, and then I upload it to my YouTube. And I'll send you a couple of clips, okay?
All right. I'll be looking for it.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Take care.
You too.
Bye. Wow, that was so... You know what? It's not as scary as I thought it was going to be. I was so scared before. So, paranormal. Places that can be haunted by spirits, 58%. You can see that. This is all about paranormal beliefs. It's a little chart, a little graph. Ancient and advanced civilizations once existed, 57%. Aliens have visited our Earth, 41%. This is probably higher now. Aliens have come to Earth in modern times, 35%. There you can see that. And then last, actually, Bigfoot is a real creature, 21%. It should be higher than that. Fortune tellers and psychics, 17%. That's all? Only 17% of the country believes in that? Come on. All right, well, we'll move on from paranormal. That was a fun conversation. He's a very interesting person. Well, hi. Thanks for staying with us. And that was a very cool conversation with Eric Vanderlaan. I can't even remember how to say it now. Well, now, before we do a visualization, I want to touch on light. And I've been experiencing reaching a higher consciousness. And so I would like to share with you some information about that. And one of the things that I constantly am hearing in my head, besides angels, the beautiful angels right here, this painting I love, is light, 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 and the term light on the horizon. So I said, what does that mean exactly? And when I say it, what am I saying is, it's basically, to me, light on the horizon, or connecting to a light source and seeing the sunrise. What it is it's about a new development in my life, a new positive experience. It's about the brightest and the most wonderful energy. And when I hear light on the horizon, that's what that means. So it means something that makes you think that a difficult situation will improve. Farther than the impossible limit of sight, beyond what one is able to see or foresee, know, or anticipate. It's positive. It's probably universally a big deal. And so when I went further, I came across this word luminary. And luminary equals astrology. The luminaries were what traditional astrologers called the two astrological planets, which were the brightest and most important objects in the sky, in the heavens, and that is the sun and the moon. Luminary means source of light. It's all connected. Light on the horizon. It means to go beyond the ability to what's here and now and to foresee or know that good things will happen and your life will improve. The sun and the moon, being the most abundant sources of light in the inhabitants of the earth, are known as luminaries. The astrological significance warrants the classification of the sun and the moon separately from the planets, and in that the sun and the moon have to do with the man's spiritual consciousness. Higher consciousness. And what is higher consciousness? It's connecting completely, truly with who you are. Allowing yourself to be your truest self is a higher consciousness. And it's, I don't want to say it's your mind, but it is connected to your mind. It's a belief that you can have faith in who you are and trust yourself and connect to your heart. A higher consciousness is the consciousness of a God or the part of the human mind that is capable of transcending animal instincts. Spiritually activated, call this phenomenon activation. And I like this term to be cause unconscious shadow material attachments and identification with the little self as opposed to the higher are quickly brought to the surface during spiritual awakening. The grand awakening. And what are some examples? I have some examples somewhere of. I know I have it. Let me see. I know I have some examples of a higher awakening. And I know it's lucid dreaming. Where is it? I have it somewhere. I looked in beyond that to what are light codes. Now, light codes I brought up last week. And light codes. Light codes are energy patterns. Light codes are energy patterns that all of creation emits, and within them is encoded healing energy, thoughts, and imprinted emotions. When put together in a series, they are called a light language. Everything emits an energy pattern, even words. And as I pursued this topic, I realized that there's a whole language that comes with this, and it's called light language, and people speak it. And it definitely sounds otherworldly. If you'd like to look, online, you can find some of this language. So light codes are energy patterns that all of creation emits. Light is vibrational frequencies that carry the codes of creation. DNA is activated via spiritual awakening to create the light body. The higher levels of consciousness opens up, exceeding the understanding of the vocabulary-based languages known to man. When one is tapped into a higher consciousness, now lately I've been speaking of star seeds, which are multidimensional aliens, and some examples are Andromedan, Palladian, Syrian, wait, how do you say their name? Victorian, and when one is tapped into higher consciousness, language is expanded to tones, hand gestures, geometry, and more. Essentially, language of light speaks in universal capability as the mother of all languages in existence. I came across, from this, I've learned about this word, ascension. And light language is expressed through many different forms of translation. They say binaural beats, physical pulses, physical movement, and mantras, channeled audible vocals, and even written symbols. I came across this chart, and it's about the ascension and about cosmic peace. It says great solar flash, mass ascension. And you know, everything that's going on in the world right now, we wonder, it's like someone referred to it online as upside down world. And what was in existence before is basically being flipped inside out, upside down, and backwards. And there's almost no logic. What's going on? And I wonder myself, is there a superior energy that is basically coming through? And is it awakening us? And we are hearing about so many topics and information that that's never surfaced. So I wonder, so I pulled this up, and on this it talks about telepathy, telekinesis, psychic healing, ascending abilities develop, healing earth, and a new world consciousness. And that's what this is about, higher consciousness. Different types of higher states of consciousness can arise individually. And what does that mean exactly? So when you start to connect to your real self, and when you start to connect to your heart and compassion and love, and releasing negativity, so you're clearing away any darkness that's within your spirit. And of course, we're going to kind of regain some of that off and on. But you can clear quite a bit of anything from trauma to experiences, circumstances, old tapes that you've heard or old beliefs that you had. You can release that and let that go and become detached from that. And from that, you love yourself, and then you love others. So you send love to others. And from that, you become more of yourself. So you're letting go of anything that's from your past that became part of your beliefs and thinking that you had, and you let that go, and you connect to your real self, your true self, your heart, your spirit. And you allow that to come forward, and then your higher consciousness comes forward and your grand awakening. So here's some ways that you experience it. Modified states of consciousness achieved with the help of meditative experiences, optimal experience, and the flow state. I believe that there's a flow, that's an energetic flow that's going through the universe that connects to all living things. Like I say, we're all connected. And with that, we get messages. And we are connected to nature. I'm connected to every tree, every human, every animal. And there's a flow, an energy flow that comes that you don't see, but you can sense as soon as you start to tune in. Now also, it might come through where you have this feeling, you would understand it if you're a runner, this euphoria that you feel as a runner. Lucid dreaming. So lucid dreaming comes when you close your eyes and you're awake and you're aware of the dream that you're having. And through that might come some kind of information, some kind of phenomenon that you will be told ahead of time, like a premonition. You might get a download of an experience. You might, a entity or a light being like an angel or an alien might come through, a higher being. Maybe you'll get a visitation from someone who's passed. Maybe you'll see something that's going to happen to you, or someone that's in your life, you might see something that's going to happen to you. An out-of-body experience, a near-death experience will bring this, a mystical experience sometimes regarded as the highest of all higher states of consciousness. And that might be divine intervention. Maybe you will have a come to Jesus moment. Maybe you will have a saint or a otherworldly light being come into your life. Now, neuroscience, philosophy, psychology listed 2019, what is a higher state of consciousness? Now, I'm going to go on with this and explain this for a bit more, and then we're going to get into, I'm going to do a visualization, and then I'm going to talk about UAPs. So what is a higher state of consciousness came through in neuroscience, philosophy. Took a bit longer. Hi, Kawa. Right now we're on to higher consciousness. So each of us, and I'll hold this up because this is about the Great Awakening. I'll hold this up and I'll read this so you can maybe see that on the camera. Each of us has a normal state of mind as well as our own way of reaching a different state of mind. As the School of Life video above reminds us, such habits go back quite deep into the recorded history to the eras when then, as they, the Hindu sages, Christian monks, and Buddhists spoke of reaching moments of higher consciousness through meditation or chanting or fasting. In recent years, the practice of meditation has spread even, and perhaps especially among chanting. Periodic fasting has come to be seen as a necessity in certain circles. The movie Lucy has an interesting take on this subject. Yes, that is a very interesting movie. I like that. I've seen that a number of times. Still on the topic of mountain, deep into our sitting and breathing sessions, or even having consumed our mind-altering substance of choice, we do feel, if only for a moment, that something has changed within us. We understand things we don't even consider understanding in a normal state of mind. I've experienced connecting to a higher consciousness. It definitely began when I joined a meditation group back in mid-2000. And I joined this meditation group. Actually, I want to say it was 2002. I joined a meditation group, and that's where it started for me, and I was in a group meditation. And then from there I did my own, and I could meditate wherever I was, and then I started kind of connecting to all of my abilities more and more. And I truly believe that I have a dream journal that I want to show you. And so I actually have ways, I believe that if we write down our dreams, if we do meditation, so I have a dream journal online, and you can write in here every day whatever your dreams are, and from there, oh yeah, I love that movie. And from there, you can, or just get a composition book and write down your dreams from there. Like Eric said today that he doesn't dream, but he does. And I should have said to him, if you say to yourself before you go to sleep, I'd really like to remember my dreams, you'll start to remember your dreams within 10 days, 7 to 10 days, for sure. And now moving forward, before we touch on UAPs, I want to do a visualization to relax and bring light into our lives. And hopefully when you connect to light, you connect to more of your own being, and bring yourself some self-love. We will create vivid mental images in our mind's eye, bringing positive emotions such as joy, happiness, and hope. Blessings. Our intention today is to clear away negativity in our mind, heart, and spirit through thoughts with a glowing ball of light. Let's realize connecting with your mind, body, spirit to divine light will shed darkness in yourself and unblock your truest potentials. Your ball of glowing light visualization begins now. Please find a quiet space, sit or lay down comfortably, close your eyes, and together let's inhale and exhale deeply 3 times. Now I'd like you to scan your body from the top of your head, your crown chakra, to the tip of your toes for any stress or tension. Our intention today is to release negative emotions preventing us from our own personal happiness. Imagine there is a bright, glowing, beautiful ball of light in the distance. The ball of light is bold and powerful and energetic. And you sense that this ball of light is bringing you peace and abundance. As the ball of light travels towards you, you begin to remember past nuances in your life, and you're accepting to release these past nuances, and they will depart from your system. You sense it is positive and necessary to experience this to grow and transform into a better version of you. The ball of light begins to cover your body. And as it covers you, you sense that it protects you. And you feel safe and warm and secure. No one may harm you, and the glowing, powerful ball of light reaches beyond your head and below your feet. Its power slowly diminishes old thoughts and past mindsets. And you sense that this is a pure ball of light. And you give permission to this ball of light to touch every cell in your body, your organs, your flesh, and your bones. It remains surrounding your body, filling every organ. And with this positive light and energy, you breathe out pain and anger and sadness, and you release anything that you're holding on to. And you speak anything that you need to feel that it's left your body, anything that's not good for you and helping you to move forward in your life. You let go. You let out a sigh. And this allows for room for more love in your life, in your heart, and your being. Your heart grows bigger, and you have an awareness of calmness and peace. You surrender to this. Now let's stay in the moment and feel this and acknowledge what this feels like, this peace that you have now. And tomorrow you know good things are coming. And after this moment, good things are coming. Abundance and love and joy. So I will count backwards to 3 and you will open your eyes. 3, 2, 1. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so I wanted to get on to UAPs. And I came across Christopher Mellon. He was born in 1957, and he's the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Intelligence in the Clinton and George Bush administrations, and later for Security and Information Operations. He formerly served as the Staff Director of the United States Senate Select Committees on Intelligence. And why am I bringing him up? Because of UAPs. And I found a blog that he wrote 3 days ago, and I'm going to explain to you. Now here, this is what we've seen constantly. And what is this exactly? This is from a radar in a pilot, from a pilot in an aircraft, and that's a UAP, an unidentified aerial phenomenon. And of course, we have spoken about the report that came out on the 25th of June, an 8-page report, 8.5 pages, and it does not define what UAPs. It basically says that we don't know what it is, and it questions whether or not it's a threat to national security. So on Wednesday, this came out. Former official UFO report actually strengthens alien hypothesis. So what is, let's see, I'm going to hold up, here's a gray alien. I'll just hold up the gray alien as I read this. And this comes out through Future Society, Aliens, UAPs. The limited amount of high-quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomenon hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature of the intent of a UAP. I was listening to some podcasts in the last 2 days, and the question is, why are UAPs spending so much time around in our airspace, and are they watching us to gain information and data for themselves? And during this time, we are not necessarily finding out much about them because we can't intercept them. And although I wonder if we do have information that they're not quite sharing yet, and was it shared in the actual classified report that was given to the Pentagon, or from the Pentagon to the Congress? But to Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence during the Clinton and George Bush administrations, the report is far more insightful, and it may appear on the surface and a reminder that we may be looking at a massive failure in national security. In my view, the UAP report's findings strengthens the case for the alien hypothesis by undetermining the main alternatives and providing examples of capabilities we cannot emulate or even understand. Precisely what would one expect if any of these reports involve genuine alien technology? Like, what would we do if they told us this? That there was. This is Christopher Mellon. That lies in the face of how media reacted to the outcome. Major outlets generally tended to interpret the news as far more evidence that aliens have not in fact come to visit us. But they're not dispelling that they've been here. They're basically saying they just don't know what is in the UAPs. Like, for example, here, this is a euphanaut is in this. There's a euphanaut, right? A euphanaut is an inhabitant of a UFO. We're still using the terminology UFO. Media discussions of the videos that often degenerate into vague references to human and mechanical fallibility on one hand, and equally vague, unusually second-hand anecdotes of incredible UFO sightings on the other. Such exchanges are neither interesting nor illuminating. Maybe there's information that they're just not sharing. Now, from his blog, Christopher Mellon's blog, I'll read to you what he said, and this was from three days ago. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's quite long. As you can see, it's back and front. So I'm just going to read a few points. And for example, here's some photos of UAPs. And you know, I had for a moment where I said I never want to run into a UAP, and now I'm thinking I do. I want to run into UAPs or have a UAP encounter. I also want to have an alien encounter and a Bigfoot encounter, I've decided. As the person who lobbied Congress to request the recently released UAP report, I have for the most part been thrilled by the results. It validated the UAP threat, forced myriad stove-piped agencies to share information, and has garnered the attention of policymakers and public. Furthermore, I'm just going to say Christopher Mellon in here so that everyone knows who I'm referring to. This is from him. Oh, why is it not printing? If anyone has any questions, just go ahead and ask. That's what I'm talking about, if anyone would like to know. And so what did the much anticipated report conclude? This is what he says in his blog 4 days ago. No evidence that UAPs are secret U.S. aircraft. Surely our government can account for its own aircraft programs when each is worth billions. We also have systematic processes to keep track of classified programs, and even DoD waived special access programs. Any revolutionary new aircraft programs would cost a fortune. I was going to show Roswell pictures too, like this is the newspaper, because I thought, well, I think what I'm sensing is that we're going to start to hear eventually about, not Roswell. Aliens sound more dangerous than ghosts. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think so, because maybe it's the mystery of it. We don't really know enough about UAPs and aliens. The report carefully states that some UAPs may be Russian or Chinese, although it is plainly acknowledged that there are no evidence of that. Notice the report says only some, given that the military sightings of these bizarre crafts have been occurring since the 1940s. Here I am bringing up Roswell. Okay, so Roswell, what was Roswell? Roswell happened 1947, July 4th. Alien spaceship crashes in Roswell, New Mexico. Rancher Mac Brazel encounters a crashed flying saucer northwest of Roswell, New Mexico. The U.S. military initially reported to the press that the wreckage of the flying disc was recovered by the 509 Operations Group of the U.S. Air Force. Allegedly, 3 to 4 aliens' bodies 4 feet tall, which I wonder, were those... That's where the gray aliens came into play. That's where the first initial event of an alien that looked like this, like a gray alien. They were found. One was alive apparently, and they took the body to Roswell Army Airfield Hospital. Sheriff Wilcox said fragments of debris were imprinted with purple hieroglyphics. Later, the military suggested a weather balloon, not water balloon. And so then this came out, which was, they're saying that it was a weather balloon. All witnesses ordered to keep quiet. The debris and wreckage and alien bodies were believed to be taken to Area 51. That's what Area 51 is. Area 51 is the home of conspiracy theorists, a highly classified USAF, United States Air Force base. Area 51 is a highly classified Air Force base, officially Homey Airport, known as Groom Lake, 83 miles northwest of Las Vegas, southern part of Nevada. A high security open range for the U.S. Air Force, a very secretive location. Area 51 gained recognition after Bob Lazar claimed that he worked at Area 51 and said on a flying disc simulator to train pilots with an extraterrestrial that he called J-Rod, a telepathic translator. Bob Lazar says hired to reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology. Now from this came Project Blue Book in 1952, the study of UFOs. The government put this together. Was it a threat to national security? And then that ended in 1969. Now there have been more programs by the government, and most recently the UAP task force. Task force. So, hey, Theo! Aliens sound more dangerous. Absolute. Yes. I'm going to say yes to that. And then I'm going to say hi to Theo. Who's Theo? Theo. Hey, Theo. Hey. I'm Mary Amy, and this is Signs of Light. Nice to meet you. Hello. So if you'd like to read further, you can find Christopher Mellon's blog about UAPs. And I just wanted to touch on angels before we go. It's been a wonderful show. Let me just see. Yeah, he goes on to talk about, he talks about UFOs. He says, the question was, do we know of any vehicles capable of hypersonic speed that are white, thick, rounded, lack of wings, air inlets, and exhaust or control surfaces? The tic-tac maneuvered in ways unlike known aircraft, according to the aviators who observed it. For example, it moved laterally side to side and ball bouncing off invisible walls. It demonstrated the ability to transcend in a straight vertical line at the hypersonic speeds. Well, I always wanted to see aliens. Would really suck when I see them only to take over the earth. Well, you know, I wonder about that, because I have friends who are referring to these star seeds and how the reptilians, and they are shape-shifting, and they're already among us. And I think that I haven't seen any surveys about people believing whether or not aliens are going to take over the world, but I'm starting to wonder about that. I'm starting to wonder about, are there aliens among us? And you know, the star seeds are known to be from our future. And I do have a video I wanted to show you that I think is pretty interesting. Aliens exist. Hi, BB Salad. Aliens exist? I think so. I believe aliens exist. And there's just, I don't know, I'm finding, like, I heard minimum there's at least 9 types of aliens. These are gray aliens. And I've heard of reptilians, I've heard of Andromedans, I've heard of the tall white, the Nordic aliens. Let's see. The goblins, the Hopkins goblins. Quite a few different kinds of aliens that I've heard of myself. And who's flying the UAPs? What are Nordic aliens? Okay, so Nordic aliens, I'll tell you right now, because I have a list and I have pictures. Can I have some pictures of aliens? If you hold on, I'll get some. So Nordic aliens, I'll tell you about Nordic aliens. So Nordic aliens are from Pleiades, and they're Scandinavians, and they're 6 to 7, actually I'm wrong, they're 7 to 8 feet tall, and they have long blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin. And they're concerned with world peace, and they appear in dreams, meditation, like you can find the meditation. They can visit you. Like I have to tell you the truth that I actually had a dream with an alien, a lucid dream last week, and it was with, I believe it to be an Andromedan. So it had, I sensed that it was a male, and it had blue head, very oversized head, a long nose, huge eyes. It didn't scare me because of its energy. And then I saw a whole crowd of them. And so an Andromedan is from the Andromedan galaxy, no, I'm pronouncing it wrong, but anyway, allegedly visited Florida in 1954, made of plasma. They're energy beings, usually blue or violet, highly intelligent, technologically advanced. Who's that? Who just joined us? So they are wholesome aliens, yes. Did you join us? Emma Nick 99. Hi, thanks for joining us. Yes, so you will go on the list. This is my followers. You'll be on our list. And if you check, I have my schedule. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then extra days if I have a guest that cannot appear. It's usually in the afternoons 2 to 4. You can catch the stream, and it's up for 2 weeks, and then I upload it to maryamyofficial.com. It's great to meet you. Amazing. So there are wholesome aliens. Yes, there are. It's funny because when I've had guests who have actually communicated with aliens, either in dreams or they said in person, they have said that just like there's good and evil on Earth, there's good and evil aliens. And I even had someone say to me, well, okay, you're mentioning reptilians. So reptilians are humanoid lizard people. And David Ack, a conspiracy theorist, claims they shapeshift. He says that reptilian aliens control Earth by taking on human form, gaining power to manipulate societies. I reckon humans are worse than aliens. Okay. I think they're just different. Like, I don't think humans are... I believe that we all have light in our hearts, and that we can connect to it if we choose to. And I'm finding with a higher consciousness, which I mean that I'm really becoming more of me, that I turn away from anybody that's kind of in that mode, because that's what they're going through. So I let that go, and I'm not really into like having this, not into doing that BB salad. So I don't think that they're worse than us. I think like I don't think humans are worse than aliens. I don't think any entity is worse than another. I think there's good and bad, right? There's light and dark, and I guess it's what you're looking for. What are you searching for? Well, okay, so moving on. So there's what's called tall whites. And tall whites are humanoid in appearance. So what is humanoid? Humanoid is where they have human characteristics, but they're not, obviously not human, but they take on human characteristics. Like this one has human characteristics because obviously it has a nose, eyes, mouth like us. Usually the nose is very, very small, if not visible, and then the mouth is super small, and then the eyes are very big. Now they can range from being very, very tall or very short. Fair point. So a tall white is humanoid in appearance, and it's 8 to 10 feet tall. Tall, slender, white chalk, blue eyes, look like ghosts or angels. I will get into aliens in the next show on Monday. Right now I don't have a guest. I'm looking to have a healer who actually has blue, he says blue light beings that follow him. In fact, people have contacted him saying that. So tall whites were presented at Nellis Air Force Base in 1964. Approximately 8 feet tall, and they visited Las Vegas. And this is all, alleged encounters and sightings. Is there any others that I'd like to mention? I mentioned the Hopkinsville Goblin, and that comes from, I always say there's an original event. An alien, they have a picture of an alien and what an alien looks like. That's because it's coming from an original event. Someone claimed that they had this encounter. And I know that these are the aliens that were also in the first alien abduction, which supposedly is actually true, that there are alien abductions. Even though it's been debunked, skeptics have said, I believe there has been alien abductions. Why would all these thousands of people lie? So the Hopkinsville Goblin was from an alien encounter in 1955 in Kentucky. And there was 5 adults that witnessed 12 to 15 dark figures peering into their windows, and they were held captive in their farmhouse for 5 hours before police showed up, the sheriffs, and the news. And so they said that these dark figures were peering into the windows and scaring them, and they were held captive for 4 hours. So there was national coverage, and military police showed up to take care of this. From the U.S. Army Fort Campbell. Now, there's no evidence of this being a hoax. And they said that they were little green men. That's where the term little green men came from. What was today's topic? Well, today's topic, I started out BBQ salad with a paranormal expert. I've never had a paranormal expert, and he's a ghost hunter from Florida if you want to watch the stream. And he was on for an hour, the first hour. His name's Eric Vanderlaan. And he talked about paranormal experiences like Ghostbusters, real Ghostbusters. And he's been doing this for 10 years, and he's actually working on a pilot right now about that. And then I spoke about light on the horizon and higher consciousness. Usually my shows are about Bigfoot experts. I have psychics, I have healers, I have UAP. At last Monday, I think I had the UAP expert, Frank Milburn, if you want to watch that. He's really a UAP, UFO expert, and he's a British intelligence officer. He was great, and he explained all about the UAP report, and I'm looking to have a dream expert, and I am actually an intuitive empath, so I have an understanding of paranormal and supernatural and anomalies and the mysteries of the universe. So that's what this is about. Plus, I share suggestions to inner peace and personal serenity. And I'm really grateful. So that was today's topic, and I'm so grateful that we have a new follower. And like I said, I will be having streams on Monday and Thursday next week. I want to bring up, I do have definitely a confirmed guest. And she's a shaman coming from Texas. And her name is Randy Marks, and she's a friend of mine. And this is her book, An Awakening. If you want to get that online, you can purchase that. She's awesome. And she will be on the 26th at 1 o'clock. So that's going to be a special stream on the 26th, which is a Monday, with Randy Marks, if you want to catch that. So next week coming up, I'll have Monday show, so I hope you join us, and Thursday show, 2 to 4. And this was a special show with a paranormal guest. I want to touch on, before I go, sacred knowledge, and I speak of sacred knowledge, which is light, nature, and dreams. So light is the brightest form of energy. Nature is the phenomenon of the physical world collectively. And dreams are the universal human experience that can be described as a state of unconsciousness characterized by sensory, cognitive, and emotional occurrences during sleep. And so I say, when you connect to a light source, you become more of your truest self. You engage with nature, spend time at pieces of nature or a body of water. And if you jot down your dreams when you wake up in the morning, you will understand more of your own fears, more themes in your life. Maybe you'll be visited by a spirit, someone who's passed that wants to connect to you, or you might have a premonition dream. It will guide you to your truest destiny. So before I go, I want to mention, what is synchronicity? It is the coming together of inner and outer events in a way that cannot be explained by cause and effect, that is meaningful to the observer. And I believe when you reach ultimate synchronicity, you will find your truest and best purpose in life. Everything you say and think and do designs your future. Fear and negative thoughts will become darkness in your life, attracting unhappiness in people, relationships, and career. So let's create only positive thoughts. So you can find me, thank you for joining us. You can find me on MaryAmyOfficial.com, my website. My social media, Mary Amy Official, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. My blessings to you. Thank you. My blessings to you in honor of my Scottish grandmother, Lucille. Lang may your lum reek, which means I wish you good luck and good fortune in the future. I love you and wish you well. I'm sending you light, hope, happiness, and I hope you become more and more fulfilled every day. Be well. Bye. See you Monday at 2. But, oh, Invoker, I am feeling so lost and lonely and sad today. Oh, well, I have to say hi to you because that's what I do. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Well, okay, so let me just say something positive to you, Invoker 1548. We all in time in our lives feel this way. You're not alone. I had moments yesterday where I felt like this indescribable sadness in my heart, and I didn't know why, and so I gave myself permission to cry, and then I actually wrote down a stream of consciousness because it's very cathartic when it travels through your arm and you write it down. So I understand that, and I know that sometimes this happens to us. It's only an issue if it goes on for too many days. So if you get into a funk for too many days, you want to make sure that you have human contact, that you make sure that you eat, you get outside in nature. Go to a big, strong, healthy tree. Sit on the roots of the tree. Engage with the tree, because its energy field will help you feel more grounded. Now, I don't know why that you feel lost and lonely and sad, but just know that you're not alone, because there's so much going on right now in the world that is hurting us, and we feel like energy is coming at us. And if you are someone who's sensitive, you will feel that more. So I suggest you have clear boundaries. You ask for light. So say, light, please surround me. And I'm sending light to you. You say, light, surround me and protect me from anything that's bothering me or disturbing me. And I hope that you can connect to the light that's in your heart and know that tomorrow will be better. This minute after right now is going to be better. Do something creative. Sometimes that helps. I don't know if you're artistic. Get some paints, markers, crayons. Do something artistic. Write 5 humongous goals of things that you want to do in your life, so that you start to feel that you can keep moving, and make them huge goals. I always say, shoot here, don't shoot here, shoot here. Because if you shoot way high up, you will land here. If you shoot down here, you're not going to get what you want. So you want to write down 5 humongous goals of things that you want in your life, and be open to it. Don't share it with anyone else, because sometimes other people's opinions will taint our dreams. I believe in dreams. Okay? So I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day. Tomorrow's Sunday. Have a restful day tomorrow. Eat something that you love. Spend time in nature, and ask for light to surround you. And I'm telling you that I'm here, and I hope you join the stream. I'm back on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I appreciate the help. I will change my routine tomorrow. I believe in dreams too. It's 3 a.m. I will go out in the morning. Good. That's great. I'm glad. I hope that I had a little bit of an impact. And I always say, I'm not for everyone, but maybe you'll catch something, a spark of light in your heart, and tomorrow will be a better day. So I wish you well, and have a great, get some sleep, and tomorrow wake up, and good things will happen. I can't even write tomorrow. I'll write it like that. Okay, so be well, everyone. It was great to see you. 555. I wonder what angel number that is. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to end right now. Okay, bye. Bye. Bye, Bart BBQ Salad. Peace and love to you, Imanak. Bye.